Porque.
What's that?
Okay. Okay, guys. Let's...
Why?
Why?
Oh yeah, porque. Oh yeah, I remember now. Porque.
Guys,
Porque. See?
let's begin.
And I wonder. Porque.
We saw a crazy night last night in the Premier League. 4 games, a whole load of goals, a whole load of controversial moments, and we'll go through them tonight. I think, well, there's quite a few places we could start. Let's start with the 9-0 thrashing, shall we? Manchester United against Southampton. We've obviously discussed the debatable points, but in terms of performance, I mean, 9-0 again for Southampton. That's the second time in a year, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, because they did it against Leicester City. Leicester City. Was it 9-2 though? Wasn't it? It wasn't 9-0.
No, 9-0 against Leicester.
It was 9-0. Oh right, yeah. So 9-0, yeah, Leicester City.
But yeah, what's happened to them? I mean, last few games they've really fallen off the way. I suppose they have had injuries. That's probably a big reason.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor.
They were right up there before, weren't they? And they've just dropped off recently.
Yeah. I do feel for Southampton. You know, they seem to be a team that they get a run of form, and then slowly as players, you know, get injured, it's like they've lost their confidence. You know, which is very sad to see, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I feel like, you know, that game was very hard for them against a United squad who was out to really go for that win. You know, I feel like if that game was 11 versus 11, it would have been completely different.
Yeah, the early red card really changed things, didn't it?
Yeah,
Do you think it was
But it was a card though, so...
Oh yeah, well no, it was a red card. But, you know, I'm just saying that it did change the game.
It was a red card.
Yeah.
It was a red card challenge, you know. 2-footed. It was going on 2-footed.
Yeah, no debates with that.
Yeah, that was... and
I don't know if I really feel too sorry for...
It was on his debut.
I don't really feel too... I mean... Was it the debut of the player that did a 2-foot tackle?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's ridiculous. I mean,
No,
I don't
it is,
feel sorry
yeah.
for them.
I only remember
I
one...
feel maybe sorry for one or two of the defenders and maybe the keeper as well. Because there's only a couple of them trying out there. I don't feel sorry for the debut player who's just gone in and gives a reckless red card.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
How are you going to come on the pitch and do that? And all the other players, like a lot of the other players, I watched the game. Well, I watched the highlights, and in all of the goals, I just saw like so many players. They weren't even like trying to get back, or they just sort of giving up mentality. There's only a couple of players trying, and for the most of that team, I don't feel sorry for them. They deserve it. For the few that were trying, you know, I'm sorry for them. They should probably go find another team.
But despite Southampton, you know, I feel Man United were just playing really well. They just used the width really well. They were being patient. They were being, you know, they didn't crack under pressure of like, you know, old shoots. You know, under 10 men. They're down to 10 men now. You know, and they're going to defend deep now. You know, we actually cut them open. We were patient to find openings. We were bossing that ball around, and Luke Shaw was brilliant on that left hand side. 2 assists for him. He was brilliant. You know, his first goal by Wan-Bissaka of all people. That's his second goal of the season. And in his second goal for United in his career, which is taken really well, really.
Yeah. Pick of the goals for me was Scott McTominay's. I thought that was a great finish. That was
Oh,
the pick
Scott
of the goals.
McTominay's goal was, that was brilliant. You know, he was cleared away, and then what a strike!
Yeah.
Because I read up about him, and he used to be a striker. You see, he did actually used to be a striker.
Okay.
Before coming, he used to play a striker back in his when he was really young days, in his heydays, and then obviously facilitated the role of being a central midfielder or a CDM, a central defensive midfielder.
What do you think was the main cause why it ended up such a drastic scoreline? Do you think like Southampton at a point just capitulated? Do you think it was just how good United were, or combination? Why do you think it was so so one-sided?
Well, I think
they gave up.
Quality of go on, sorry, Gander, sorry.
I'm sorry, no, I said it before, but they gave up. They gave up. As simple as that. They just gave up. You know, you don't just lose 9-0 simply because the team is so superior. I haven't seen a team being so superior. Not even Arsenal. Back in 2003, 4, and 5, that sort of era. Like, I feel like I don't think we even went up to 9 goals, despite the times we were destroying teams. Sometimes up to 7-0. You know, it doesn't matter. It's not the quality. It's the fact the other team is just given up.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it. That's how I saw a lot of those players.
Are you saying the quality of Man United play was he good enough?
No, actually, I don't think Man United players have the quality to be a team like 9-0 of the other team trying the whole game. No, I don't see that.
Okay.
I mean, you were a bit more lucky with the red card, the second red card. I think some of your goals, I think like Rashford's goal as well, like it was just down the middle. Down the middle.
It was down the middle, and
what was that?
Yeah.
I mean, the keeper's doing so much work already. You think he's warmed up, and that happens. What is going on? The players don't know what they're doing. I remember seeing one of the goals.
Yeah.
I think it was that Scott McTominay goal, actually. It was outside the box, wasn't it? The ball came out outside the box.
Yeah.
It was actually after a good bit of defending, like a really good bit of defending, and the clearance wasn't good, but he cleared it. And I just remember seeing, I can't remember who it was, I think it was like number 10 or someone on the back of his shirt, just standing about, like he thought United was going to score.
I think that was Adam.
Just sort of stood about.
Adam.
Might have been, I don't know. But he thought they were going to score. The defenders were actually trying, won the ball back, but you think he's like on the floor or something, so he just gets it away. And McTominay's obviously standing there ready for it. Had the guy actually been playing properly, he should be at the edge of the box there waiting for a ball to spill out so he can clear it. And this is the thing, that's what some of the players were doing. As soon as it was like, I think they might score, they just stopped trying.
Yeah. I mean, you got a question.
But I think the quality of play by Man United was superb.
The diving quality.
It was a good performance. It was a good performance from United, but it wasn't a 9-0 performance. I think Southampton definitely contributed to their own downfall by some measures.
Okay. I'll get that. But the
quality diving, though, isn't it?
But the quality of the goals, and not the penalty though, obviously. The quality of, it's in. We've done our thoughts on that, but I just feel like the quality of the goals were brilliant, especially the one from Cavani. Just shows how potent he is and how wide one of the best number 9s in the world, really.
Well, he couldn't score against Arsenal.
Yeah, all right. Well, he couldn't.
I'm just saying, you're saying that the best number 9s, he had a couple of chances, didn't even hit it on target.
Some of them were behind him as well. God,
Like from Southampton's point of view, you got to really question their team mentality, surely, and maybe their manager's mentality, because losing 9-0 against Leicester, I think that happened in October 19, that game. And, so 2 9-0 losses in just over a year, pretty much. You got to question the team's mentality. Why did they give up again? Like they did against Leicester, they would obviously dire that night, and then again.
Is it the same players?
Yeah.
Is there any changes in that team? I'm not too sure.
I don't think there has been, to be honest. No.
From the last year? Oh, yeah.
From last year.
I don't think Adam was part of that team. Bednack wasn't part of that. And plus, they had a few youngsters, didn't they?
Bednarak, I think Bednarak's been there quite a long time. I remember when he scored in a game against Chelsea. I think it was like 2018. So he's been there quite a long time. 2018. But yeah, I think the majority of that Southampton team is the same. So I think Skunder's got a point. I think they are. The majority of the players are still there. The heart of that team. Romeu obviously wasn't playing, but you got Ward-Prowse. You got the goalkeeper McCarthy. I think he's been there a while. But just in general, I think that the team might be quite similar. But their mentality, to just give up and another 9-0 loss, it's just very not good.
I still think they'll...
Most of them are, by the way, are English players.
Okay, it's interesting.
I don't know, because I've had some thoughts about mentality of the English teams and English players. We see it in a international level. Even the so-called best English players at international level. We always hype them up, but they don't really do too much, do they? I've always thought it's down to the mentality. Even in the so-called golden era, what happened? They didn't even have the mentality to win a penalty shootout back then. So I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but most of those players in that starting lineup were English or British. To lose 9-0, I would like to see what the team that played against Leicester and see if there's any relevance there. But I'm partly not surprised. If it's the same players. If it's the same players from a year ago, then I'm not surprised. And if it is, then they need to leave the team. They need to leave the team. If I was the manager, I'd get rid of them.
Yeah.
I don't think I could put a player
picked themselves up before in this position. So I think there's no reason.
They have, but I don't think they can. I don't think they like half those players.
But
half of those players I wouldn't even play again.
Come on. They got a player sent off in the first 2 minutes of the game. So I think that was the key.
Isn't it a record though? 9-0 is the record.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a record. Yeah.
So they broke it last year, and they've now met that same record. I'm sorry, but that's just terrible.
I was listening to some analysis, and there was a lot of people saying that the 9-0 defeat to Leicester was very different to the 9-0 defeat last night, purely because of the fact that against Leicester they were already down. I think in that season they were hovering above the relegation zone, so it was a proper relegation team giving up kind of performance. Whereas this time around it was quite surprising because Southampton have been thereabouts this season so far. I think they were putting it down to a lot of the injuries. Really, they kept mentioning Southampton's injuries and saying that's got a big part to play. Like they're missing Romeu, as I say, in midfield. And I think that's very important to the team. Romeu and Ward-Prowse, they've got a very good partnership going on. They work very well in the centre of the field. So I think that's very important.
They have Danny Ings,
they have Danny Ings, but they're missing a lot of defenders as well. It just goes to show that they're not a one-man team, I suppose. And they need all their key midfielders and defenders. It's not just about Danny Ings, I suppose. But yeah. So they noticed some differences between the two defeats, really. But Southampton need to pick themselves up quick. As I say, they've been thereabouts this season, so they'll want to kick on. I mean,
don't take away anything from the performance by United, though. I think they played really well.
You know, when Arsenal lost 8-2 to United, Arsene Wenger went out and got 5 players. Just bought in 5 players after that. Got rid of a couple and bought in 5 players. And so it's almost as if, like, I remember Armand Traore literally like joking with like Wayne Rooney after the game. Like, you don't even remember that name because he was really a nobody at Arsenal, and he finally had a chance to play because we had injuries, and he sits there. Well, he doesn't sit there. He's walking off the pitch and he's having a laugh with Rooney after we've just been destroyed 8-2. And Wenger has never gone out and bought so many players before in his life. But he got rid of Traore literally straight away, and he brought in 5 players. We brought in Park Ju-young, Yossi Benayoun on loan. He was amazing, I would say.
Yeah, he was good.
We got in Andre Santos, was hit and miss. Mertesacker was very good. Arteta as well. So this is the thing. I know it's not. You can't go and buy any players at the minute, but like, this is what I'm saying. If they are the same players, then that's disgraceful.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah, so as I say, it's a bit unlucky that the window's just closed, but he will definitely need to strengthen in the summer. Any last thoughts on this one then before we move on?
Well, yeah, I just don't want. It sounds like Gunder's just not crediting the performance of Man United.
I'm not really. You're right. I'm not really.
I know you're not.
I'll be honest. I'm not really crediting their performance. They did okay. They probably would have won.
Fan, but still, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I just looked at some of the.
If they played that kind of ball with 11 men, I'm sure they would have got.
I mean, you got 3 goals. You got a penalty and another 2 goals after one of your players dived at 6-0.
I know, man.
So there's already 3 goals. I think that. I mean, at least 2 of them. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you might have scored another one, to be fair, but I don't think you would have scored 3.
Yeah, I honestly think it was a good performance. I think.
I would say it's like a 4-5-0 game. That's the way I see it. It's a 4-5-0 game. It's still a good game. It's just not a 9-0, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that he would
That's what I mentioned too.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
From that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, United obviously did play well. They wouldn't have got that result, I suppose, as dramatically as they did. I suppose if they didn't, but it was down to Southampton's downfall as well. It's a mixture of both sides there.
Yeah, I mean, the quality of United, and Martial back among the goals, which is brilliant. That will do him a bit of confidence, but he hasn't scored any. Was it in 10 matches, I think? So in 10 matches he hasn't scored.
You got a question though, like that makes you think this league is definitely like just bonkers this season. I mean, they lose to Sheffield United at home one week, and then the next week they win 9-0 against Southampton. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy fortunes. And speaking of Sheffield United, we'll go on to them next. They beat West Brom in a very cagey affair at the bottom of the table. I was very happy about this result, to be honest. I'm very pleased for Sheffield United. They've got themselves a couple of wins recently. They played well at City as well, didn't they? They played well against City, only lost 1-0.
Only lost 1-0.
So they seem to be turning a slight corner. It's still a massive ask, obviously, but it's good to see, isn't it, from Sheffield United? And that's very tight at the bottom.
Oh yeah, very good to see Sheffield United, winning. Winning tough games. They were tough games. Was it? They won against Manchester United, which no one ever predicted. You know what I mean? They were literally written off even before the game. And then they just pulled out a shocker. I can't believe it. Anyway, let's go back. And then to only lose 1-0 against Man City, that's in a way that's still a positive result for them, to be honest. Even though they lost, but by 1 goal to 0. I mean, against who maybe I don't like saying this, but maybe the future champions. But anyways,
what does it mean for them to get to the bottom now?
But West Brom,
Well,
You know,
yeah.
they just like, you know, I feel like, you know, they showed really good resilience against Fulham, and then, you know, they do 2-2, and you know they look like something was going on, and then Sheffield United.
They do look at a minute like a relegated side.
West Brom, yeah, I agree. Yeah, West Brom do.
Struggling. I know they brought in some players last minute transfer. I know they got Maitland-Niles. I think they got a striker as well. Did they have enough time to really turn anything around?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a shocker, really, if they do go down, in a sense, because it's Sam Allardyce, and obviously he's always kept teams up in his career. So it is going to be a bit of a shock to the system, I suppose, for him, but it doesn't look great for West Brom at the moment. I mean, not being able to hold on to a lead against Sheffield United, who are a team who've only won twice this season. I mean, that's not good at all, is it? That's definitely relegation form. Sheffield United could be joining them, of course, but out of the two teams, you have to say Sheffield United look the ones with
they're on it up. They're on it
yeah,
up
a bit of momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, they got momentum. I really want to see Sheffield United to come out of that relegation zone. I really do. But it's 6 points. 6 points gap.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's what's working against them all.
6 points gap. I don't think it's a 6 points gap from 17th place.
Currently, with Burnley's defeat tonight, they're currently 17th, and it's an 8-point gap actually between them and Fulham. Both.
Well, no, you got Brighton. You got Brighton, who are
Brighton, Newcastle, and
21
Burnley
points.
all on 22 points now. So Newcastle dragged into it now.
Well, I think Brighton are currently on. Like, if you're using the live score at the minute, because they're playing now, but they're drawing obviously with Liverpool at half time. But
Yeah.
so that's the live score.
Yeah.
But at the minute they are still currently 21 points. So yeah, I guess 21, 22 points. But I mean, Sheffield and West Brom, they both play 22 games. So some of those teams have a game in hand.
Yeah, Sheffield. Yeah, so for Sheffield, they need 11 points.
Yeah, it's just quite a gap
Burnley have been
between
doing
18th and 17th now, which is it's the thing really, which is why we can't see Fulham, West Brom or Sheffield United escaping. I mean, even though it is possible, but you have to say it doesn't look likely.
I really do want Sheffield United, and you know, I think Burnley needs to go down now. I think they're to go down.
Burnley,
Yeah, Burnley.
I mean,
Burnley tend to go down now.
Everyone has that one team they want to go down, don't they? I mean, I remember I always used to want Blackburn to go down because they were that one team I just thought weren't really going anywhere. And everyone has that one team that they.
Blackburn Rovers.
it was always Stoke. Ever since Stoke came up, it was always Stoke.
Yeah.
Always Stoke.
I was literally so happy when they went down.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty sure Anthony would agree with me. Anthony would 100% agree with me. Like we could go have a beer to that.
Yeah.
Every single year, Stoke's not in the Premier League. We can have a little celebration pie.
Yeah, just another point. Yeah.
Yeah, just have a pie, celebrate the fact that they're not good enough
Yeah.
in this division.
Yeah, everyone's good at one team, but yeah.
I'm really sorry, Stoke fans. You know, I'm sure they don't.
Well, I mean,
Stoke.
well, they're probably too busy playing rugby at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah.
Don't get too stoked over it, right? You know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
With
Fun, well done, mate.
I was just gonna allude to the fact with Sheffield United, 3 wins in their last 5. You have to say out of the bottom 3 teams, they're the ones with the most momentum, as we said. Their next fixtures, I mean, they've got Chelsea at home, then they're away to West Ham, then they've got a massive game against Fulham.
They could potentially get a point out of West Ham game.
Could do.
Don't know
Yeah.
about Chelsea.
Fulham's going to be an
They have
interesting
beat
one.
Chelsea before,
Fulham,
though,
Sheffield
haven't they?
United.
So, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it looks very tight at the bottom. Another team, as we just mentioned, who are dragged into it now, are Newcastle. And we saw them lose last night, 2-1 at home to Crystal Palace, after they had come off the back of a win. Really impressive win at Everton, wasn't it?
Yeah, really impressive win at Everton. And then
Did they take the lead?
In the game against Palace, they did, yeah. They took the lead early on through John Joe Shelby and 2 goals from Palace. Yeah.
And then, Crystal Palace came back into the game.
Yeah, so it doesn't look great for Newcastle. What do you two make of their situation? Like, you know, after as we said, after a great win at Everton, seems like it was just a blip, really, didn't it? Like, and they're back to where they were.
I think their confidence might be not.
This Premier League season, as you were saying earlier, it's so unpredictable these days. You don't know what. You know, do you remember the days where you could actually predict what the result was going to be? You know, you knew that. Was it Chelsea were going to beat?
I mean, Cahill scored. Gary Cahill scored.
Gary Cahill, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't scored in I don't know how long.
I know. I don't even know if he's actually scored for Palace like before. I think maybe it was his first goal last night. But I know that he reached his 50th Premier League goal. I think last night after waiting for quite a long time. So he's finally reached that landmark.
Poor defender.
Well, it's actually a really pretty important win because Crystal Palace were sort of slipping.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's an important win for them, yeah. Palace are sort of, but yeah, they're that side who sort of, you know, they're sticking in there. They could lose a couple, but they always seem to manage to come back, don't they? Maybe that's to do with their mentality, you know, with Roy Hodgson. He's, I can't remember Palace going on.
Keeping them up.
I think Crystal Palace are always going to be like, you know, either top in the top 10 or just outside.
Top 10.
You know?
Yeah, I mean they're currently in 13th. They're currently in 13th, but just to show how tight things are, like they're level on points now with Southampton and Leeds, who lost earlier.
Leeds United.
Yeah. So yeah. Do you think just quickly regarding Palace, you know, obviously Zaha key to that side. So do you think when the day comes that Zaha leaves, which could be potentially in the next year or so, Crystal Palace will struggle a lot more, won't they?
He's very key. He's key.
Porque?
Did he play that game against Newcastle? Porque? Did he play that game against Newcastle? I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. He got subbed off. But he wasn't amongst any of the goals or the assists. Obviously, doesn't mean he didn't play a part. But he will be missed, obviously.
I think he'll be missed. He will be missed. But you know, like we were saying before,
I think Palace, because they play they set up.
Not one team, you know, one player.
But they do set their team around him. They do build their team.
They do, yeah, they do. I mean, he's up front, wasn't he?
Their main man in the team.
Yeah.
So when he goes, they're gonna have to change the dynamic of their team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Obviously, with the funds that they get from him, they should really be able to get, hopefully, a couple of players that will do the job.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to go this summer.
Maybe make things a bit more.
Yeah, he's always been linked with moves away, so I mean, it's probably going to happen soon.
Arsenal wanted him at some point.
Yeah. So yeah, we could see him moving across. Obviously, it didn't really work out for him at United, though. I think maybe. I'm not sure if a big club is right for him, to be honest, seeing as how it went for United. But then again, he's grown in his career since then. I think Arsenal would be a good fit for him. I think.
He was not given enough time at United. He was not given enough time. He didn't have. They weren't playing him at United because they. I don't know why. I think they probably.
There's also quite.
They thought he wasn't ready. You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like they should have given him more time. And David Moyes, with the manager at the time, did not give him any more time. You know what I mean? And yet on my FIFA, when I had FIFA, He was a brilliant keeper, mate.
Okay. You can't judge a player on FIFA.
Joey's FIFA days. But yeah,
It's the real thing.
Cannot judge a player on
the other game last night, the final one we'll talk about was the Wolves-Arsenal game. Finished 2-1 to Wolves. Again, controversial moments, I suppose, in that one. 2 red cards for Arsenal. We've discussed the Louise one. Leno sent off as well later on. Just didn't go Arsenal's way, really. I think it was a game of 2 halves, really. Arsenal did play well starting the game. They obviously took the lead through Pepe. But yeah, game of 2 halves. Wolves got to turn it around after that penalty, and then great goal from João Moutinho. You can't deny that.
Oh yeah, João Moutinho, what a brilliant goal. No goalkeeper was going to save that.
Yeah.
It hit the post, didn't it? And went in, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think
so.
yeah, Arsenal, as I say, they had the majority of the first half. Skunda, what did you make of it? Your team, how did you analyse it?
Well, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. A very good first half. We should have put maybe a few more chances away, and obviously, I think the red card, David Luiz played a massive part in the game.
Yeah.
Changed the dynamic of the game.
Yeah.
We come out at half time. I think we took Lacazette off, put a defender on, and it didn't even take him a couple of minutes, and then he scores that banger, and it's just like, well, now we're losing. So that game plan is pretty much out.
Right.
Then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Leno comes out. Don't know what Leno's doing. But maybe he just forgot that he forgot how to play football, and the ball comes in. All he has to do is control it with his chest. But of course, because he's training in goal every single day, that his natural instinct is just to punch the ball. So that's how he gets sent off. That was kind of funny. Not funny, but kind of funny. Of course, the second choice goalkeeper that we just bought, is injured, so he didn't come on the pitch.
Oh yeah, of course, Matt Ryan. Yeah.
On the pitch. That happened.
Yeah. Bit of a
I think Arsenal was like a laughing stock now, isn't it?
Yeah, bit of an unfortunate one for Arsenal. It sort of turned against them from
a bit is a bit of an understatement, don't you think?
Well, who, me or Joey?
No. When you said bit.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to rub it in. No. But I think if
no, it's okay. You won't win the league anyway, so I'll just laugh at you then.
You won't even be top 4, let alone.
Yeah, well, you're the one who's going to get your hopes up and lose, so there. I don't even care. We're so far behind, I don't even care anymore.
I love this. Right. Shall we move on then?
Well, but before we move on, I just wanted to quickly touch on Arsenal's shape. I mean, they went with a 4-2-3-1. To be fair, despite this defeat, I just wanted to sort of touch on the fact that I think this formation has kind of changed their fortunes in a way. Arteta has played the 4-2-3-1, recently, and I think this game was the only one they've lost of late, wasn't it? Or one of them anyway. But anyway, this formation I feel like works well for Arsenal.
I feel Arsenal will pick themselves up after this.
Well, I mean, Arteta's played in this formation as a sort of deep line playmaker, defensive mid when he was there.
Yeah.
And so he was captain as well. He knows. I feel that's the thing, if you know how to play in that position, play in that formation, it's probably best to actually to utilise it as a manager, because you know the ins and outs and how everything works.
Yeah.
So we were really good in the first half. Pepe did take his goal very well. I will say I'm a little bit cautious with him. He was defending very well.
Yeah.
I think Arteta installed that into him. But I think a couple of times in that first half, after he scored, he sort of, when a chance came, he was trying to take on players when maybe the better option would have been to maybe either try hold it up and pass it to someone or something. That's the problem with Pepe at the minute, is that he does it once, it worked. He got a little bit lucky, I think, that goal.
Yeah.
I just think it was really poor. I think it was really
The way he
poor
got
defending.
through, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just I just hope he doesn't keep trying to take on players simply because it's worked once or twice for him. He needs to be a bit more unpredictable. Try and pass the ball.
I was speaking
and then
to
take on someone and pass the ball or something.
Yeah, I was speaking to Anthony actually as well, and he really rates Gabriel. Thinks that Arsenal should have started with Gabriel. Would you play him ahead of Rob Holding, Skunda, or David Luiz, like whichever
Not
one?
ahead of Rob Holding, no. Definitely not over Rob Holding. Rob Holding's been, as solid as any. Well, he hasn't been the best, but out of the defence that we have, he has been.
Would you have
the best,
Gabriel
my
in there
opinion.
though for like?
I would. I think Gabriel is sort of coming back from an injury though. That's the only thing.
Right. Yeah.
That is the only thing. And Wolves have been sort of out of form. We should be able to trust Luiz there as a centre back pairing.
Yeah, but Luiz is he's unpredictable.
That is true. No, you are right. You are right. Yeah.
He's so unpredictable. He's like one game he'll be like, wow, he's amazing, and then the other games you'll be like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that is true. No, that's true.
So unpredictable.
He can be great for 89 minutes, and that 1 minute in the game where you just need him to do his job, he just doesn't do it, and it can cause a whole domino effect, like giving away a penalty and then getting sent off and then having us lose the game.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't think he even touched the player.
Here's the thing. He should not even be behind him. That's it. You know, you can say what you like after. We can have our disagreements, this and that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even be there. He should have been on the right-hand side of the player. He should not have been behind him. He's at fault for that.
With the camera angle,
being in that position.
The camera angle that they had on it looks like though David Luiz did touch. What's his name? Who did he touch?
I don't know, the Wolves.
I'm not sure who was the attacker in that move, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, he did. I think the angle of the camera angle that they had it at made it look as though David Luiz touched him, but I don't think he did. I
see clear contact. The thing is, David Luiz starts falling down first, so are you suggesting that David Luiz just started diving, and then the other player somehow has eyes in the back of his head, can see David Luiz diving, so he starts to dive on the floor? It's not.
Well, maybe
he
just felt him breathing down his neck or something.
We had a discussion about this earlier, didn't we? And I think I stick with my point that if it had been me, I wouldn't have given the penalty purely for the fact that I don't think it was a deliberate foul by the defender, and therefore because if it's not a deliberate foul. And as Skunda alluded to this as well before, if you're not 100% sure, then don't give it, and I completely agree with that. But I didn't see a foul, like clear foul from Luiz. I think that's why I wouldn't have given it. But we all have different opinions. But I'm not blaming the officials, But I'm sort of blaming VAR for this, I guess, in a sense. Goes on to the common sense thing that we did.
Martial, he probably had the slightest of touches, but not enough to be a penalty. Again, and also I think again the angle of the camera. He did not quite know if he touched the player or not.